As Christmas approached, the village of Umwofia was filled with the usual excitement. The air was thick with the scent of roasted yam and palm wine, as everyone prepared for the festive season. But this year, something felt different. In the midst of the celebration, a group of young men, known as the Yahoo Boys, were preparing for their own mission. These men had made their wealth through dubious means, using the internet to swindle people. But this December, they had another plan. Instead of spending Christmas in the city, they decided to return to their ancestral village. Their mission? To renew their power. And for that, they needed something more precious than money: blood. It was late evening when the first group of Yahoo Boys arrived in the village. They were well-dressed, their flashy cars drawing the attention of everyone in the village. For many, it was a sign of their success. They had made it, and now they were back to flaunt it. But to the younger generation, their arrival felt strange. The older villagers spoke in hushed tones, warning the youth not to get too close. "They have no good intentions," an old woman whispered, clutching her chest. Her words fell on deaf ears, as the youth were captivated by the men's flashy cars and expensive gifts. As the Yahoo Boys mingled with the village girls, many were drawn to their charm and wealth. They gifted them expensive jewelry, new phones, and promised them a life of luxury in the city. Most of the girls, especially those from poor families, had never seen such wealth up close. Chioma, a young girl who lived with her grandmother, was no different. She dreamed of leaving the village and living a better life. When one of the Yahoo Boys approached her with promises of a brighter future, she was tempted. But there was something unsettling about him. His eyes were cold, almost too calm for someone who had just met her. The Yahoo Boys, however, weren't interested in just impressing the girls. They had a darker purpose. The leader of the group, a tall man with a scar on his face, approached Chioma one evening after the village party. He offered her more than just money. He wanted her trust. "I can make all your dreams come true," he said, his voice smooth like honey. But his words made Chioma uneasy. "But there's one thing you have to do for me," he added, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. Chioma hesitated, sensing something wasn't right. But she was young and naive, eager to escape her current life. The offer was simple: join us. Come with me to the city, and I'll make you wealthy. But first, I need you to prove your loyalty. You see, we need to perform a ritual, a small sacrifice, to keep our power strong. You won't even notice it." His words were smooth, almost persuasive. Chioma felt the weight of his words, torn between fear and desire. "What kind of sacrifice?" she asked. The man's eyes gleamed. "Don't worry, it's nothing you can't handle." He handed her a small charm. "Wear this, and everything will change for you." Chioma, still unsure, took the charm, wondering if she had made the right decision. The next morning, Chioma met with her friend, Ngozi, who had noticed the change in her behavior. "You've been acting strange," Ngozi said, eyeing the charm around Chioma's neck. "Where did you get that?" Chioma hesitated, not wanting to alarm her friend, but feeling the unease growing within her. "It's nothing, Ngozi. Just a gift," she replied. But deep down, she could feel the charm's coldness against her skin. It was as if it were alive, its power slowly draining her. Late one night, Chioma was summoned by the Yahoo Boys. They led her to a secluded spot in the forest, where an eerie silence hung in the air. The leader, along with a few other men, stood around a fire, chanting in a language Chioma didn't understand. "You're ready now?" the leader said, handing her a small blade. "We need your blood to complete the ritual. Only then will our power be fully renewed." Chioma's heart raced as she looked at the blade, fear creeping up her spine. "No, I don't want to do this," she said, stepping back. But the men closed in on her, their eyes dark with intention. They wouldn't let her leave until she complied. As the men began to circle her, Chioma felt a sudden surge of panic. She dropped the blade and tried to run, but they grabbed her arms, pinning her down. "You should have known better than to trust us," the leader sneered. "Now, you'll help us renew our power, one way or another." With a swift motion, he pricked her finger, drawing blood. The moment her blood touched the ground, the flames of the fire flared up, casting strange shadows around them. Chioma screamed, but her voice was drowned out by the chanting. The ritual was complete. The following day, Chioma woke up in her bed, unsure if what had happened the night before was a dream. But the strange feeling lingered. Her body felt heavy, as though something had been taken from her. When she looked in the mirror, her reflection seemed different. She looked older, her face marked by a strange darkness. Meanwhile, the Yahoo boys, who had completed their ritual, began to feel the effects of their renewed power. Their cars grew faster, their bank accounts fuller. But there was a cost. With each passing day, they became more distant from reality, as though their souls were slowly slipping away. As the Christmas festivities continued, the village began to notice strange occurrences. People started getting sick, and crops began to wither. It was as if the land itself was cursed. The elders, sensing something was wrong, gathered to discuss the troubling signs. Meanwhile, Chioma felt more and more disconnected from everything around her. She could no longer hear the laughter of her friends or feel the warmth of her family's love. The darkness that had settled inside her grew stronger with each passing day. Chioma's grandmother, a wise and respected elder, noticed the change in her granddaughter. One evening, she sat Chioma down and asked, "What has happened to you, child?" Chioma hesitated but finally confessed. "I made a mistake, Grandma. I got involved with the Yahoo boys, and they did something to me." Her grandmother's face turned pale. "You've been used for a dark purpose," she said, her voice trembling. "The Yahoo boys are not what they seem. They come to our village every year, offering gifts and promises, but they always take more than they give. You must break free from their hold." Determined to save Chioma, her grandmother devised a plan. They would have to break the spell before it consumed her entirely. The charm around Chioma's neck had to be destroyed, but it wouldn't be easy. The Yahoo boys had placed a powerful curse on it, and destroying it would require strength and courage. Chioma, torn between fear and hope, agreed to go through with it. But she knew it wouldn't be simple. The Yahoo boys wouldn't let her go so easily. Late one night, Chioma and her grandmother snuck out to the forest where the ritual had taken place. The plan was to burn the charm in the same spot where the ritual had occurred, breaking the curse once and for all. But as they approached, they heard footsteps behind them. The Yahoo boys had followed them. "You think you can escape?" The leader's voice rang out in the dark. "No one leaves once they've given their blood." Chioma's heart pounded in her chest. This was it. There was no turning back now. A tense standoff ensued in the forest. Chioma's grandmother held a burning stick in her hand, ready to destroy the charm. But the Yahoo boys closed in, their eyes filled with rage. They were no longer interested in making promises. They only wanted to keep their power intact. "You don't understand," the leader said, his voice low and threatening. "You're just a pawn in a bigger game. We need this to survive." But Chioma stood tall, defiance in her eyes. "No," she said firmly. "I won't be your pawn any longer." With a swift motion, Chioma's grandmother threw the charm into the fire, and the air around them seemed to tremble. The Yahoo boys screamed as their power began to fade. The once luxurious cars lost their shine, and the money they had gained started slipping through their fingers. Chioma felt the darkness inside her begin to lift. The weight that had been pressing down on her chest for so long finally eased. She was free. The Yahoo boys fled the village, their power gone, leaving behind nothing but chaos. The village slowly began to heal, as the crops grew back and the sick were cured. But the memory of their presence lingered, and the people learned a valuable lesson about the cost of greed. As for Chioma, she returned to her family, grateful to be alive and free from the curse that had almost consumed her. Christmas in Umuofia had a new meaning after that year. The villagers celebrated not only the birth of Christ, but also the strength of their community. Chioma, forever changed by the events, vowed never to let greed or promises of wealth cloud her judgment again. As the new year began, she looked forward to a future built on hard work, love, and trust, values that no one could take from her. Thank you for watching. Kindly share your thoughts in the comment section. Remember to like, share, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more.